Hi, everyone. Welcome to VCTV, the Venture Capital TV from La Token, as you already know. So La Token has been hosting VCTV since March 2020. As we all know, that's when the pandemic hit the world, and because of the lockdown, because of no travels, we had to switch everything online. So the whole idea remains the same. The objective remains the same: to get all the speakers, all the people, investors, entrepreneurs, founders into one panel, into one platform, basically. So this is the platform where we connect people. You can share ideas, you can share insights, you can network. The whole purpose is connecting people, connecting the dots. So today's topic is very interesting, and similarly, I have interesting people on the panel as well. It's about Bitcoin. It's about Bitcoin, the new digital gold, and the predictions and trends for 2021. So before I start with the panel, I would like to introduce myself. Like most of you know me already, Kishore is a friend. Same with George, and Effendi obviously knows me now. My name is Sunny Mohanty. I'm the regional director of La Token. I'm based in Singapore, and I host VCTV every day, Monday to Friday, 8 p.m. without fail. I say that because I love to host VCTV every day, and Kishore is smiling. Thanks for that. You lost weight, by the way, Kishore. Just had
Yes,
to
I
say.
do.
Okay, guys, welcome to VCTV again. Now, I'd like to start with Kishore. Please start with you because this is the first time you're going to be speaking on VCTV.
Right.
But you attended our events before Blockchain Economic Forum. You've spoken and attend. Herbert has also spoken. But this is the online platform that you are going to be speaking today. So please introduce yourself and the company that you represent. Thank you.
Sure. First of all, thanks, Sonny, for this opportunity. I'm very glad to be speaking on this topic. It's just the right timing. And My background is I was working in Silicon Valley, and then I moved on to Singapore, started to run my own hedge fund, was into alternative investments for a couple of years, jumped into Bitcoin, basically got bitten by the bug. And since then have been actively involved in blockchain and cryptocurrency. So that's my background. We'll be launching very soon our crypto exchange as well and our decentralized platform in 2021.
Oh, that's a great news. Congratulations, Kishore.
Thanks.
And welcome to VCTV again. Fantastic. Next, I have Effendi back from Malaysia. Hi, we want to see
Hi,
that high,
hi.
that high
Yes,
energy.
yes, yeah.
Please introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you, Sony. Thank you, Kishore, and other panelists. And thank you to La Token invite me again. This topic is a very important topic. A little bit about myself. I am the founder of a Crypto Valley Malaysia. We registered under Registrar of Societies under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So we can say that Crypto Valley is a tech chamber that involved with a lot of government agencies, universities, and also the ecosystem of the blockchain and cryptographic tech. Whereas we promoting blockchain as a service, blockchain for education, and also fintech as well. And Crypto Valley actually managed to create, ecosystem of the startup that focusing on blockchain development, because Malaysia at the starting point on introduction to the blockchain technology, we focusing more not so much actually on the fintech. When it comes to the fintech, we government so strict, and government put a lot of regulation and also procedures in terms of acceptance. And I also the owner and the CEO of my company for IT solution, Blockwork, focusing on system integration. We are focusing on IR 4.0 adoption into the industries. And I can say that we do a lot of research, a lot of collaboration with universities, industries, and also people, public in terms of awareness for adoption of the blockchain tech in Malaysia and ASEAN.
Wow, that's a great portfolio, to be honest, Effendi. And again, you are the perfect person to be on this panel today. And welcome
Thank
to
you.
VCTV again. Fantastic. I think George is still switching over to his laptop. He's on his phone. So just wait for him, give him a few more minutes. Then we can just start with Kishore with the. Okay, George is here. Sorry, he's here. Hi, George. How are
I'm
you?
here. I still need to switch to the laptop, but it's a pleasure to be here. Name is George Sebastiao, founder of GBO along with VBAB, which is part of ADO, which promotes the implementation of blockchain in various projects around the world. I also have various projects, some associated with Gold, one called Ubuntu, which I'm in the process of managing, and we're kicking off in January. And we have also a project in DeFi known as DeFiX. So looking forward to the interesting discussion today as I
Yeah.
switch over to the laptop. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, sure. What's the coincidence? Last time we met Kishore, me and George was in Dubai, I guess, one of the crypto conferences, right? Interesting. Thank you. Yeah, he's switching over to his laptop. Kishore, I'd like to ask you a question. Okay, it's
Yeah,
about Bitcoin. It's about Bitcoin. Let's start with. I mean, obviously, I'm going to drill down into this topic a bit more, but let's just start with a warm up question. What are the opening remarks you're going to share with our audience? Because we are ending 2020 soon. So, what happened in 2020? What happened with Bitcoin in 2020? Why it shot up? Like, why it shot up? You can obviously take it later, but just start with some opening remarks about this digital asset.
I think Bitcoin is truly starting to gain a lot of acceptance globally, not only at the retail level, which is what it started off in the early years, but now only also at the institutional level as well. And I think even China has their own cryptocurrency now. So it just shows that governments are also now looking at blockchain technology, which is what Bitcoin is all about. And that is why Bitcoin is no longer something which people are thinking of it as an asset class which they don't understand. In fact, they are all jumping into it because they have, this FOMO effect is there, and even if they don't understand, they're just kind of buying maybe a small token amount of Bitcoin just to be part of this whole crypto community and understand it better. So I think that's what is happening.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Thank you for those opening remarks. Effendi, please share your opening remarks on Bitcoin.
Okay, when we talk about Bitcoin, I think people need to understand, because why? When we talk about Bitcoin, the perception is more on investment, profit portfolios. For me, we need to give democracy. We need to democratize the option for the people to invest in terms on behalf of their money. So for me, Bitcoin is the best ever experiment in terms of blockchain application, because people always misunderstood in terms of blockchain and Bitcoin, because of some things happen bad because of, in terms of the promotion, investment, and then the volatility. So I think this misunderstood must be catered by having the knowledge. Innovation is about knowledge. In terms of investment also, we need to have a knowledge. What knowledge mean? It's about it's about the awareness. It's about, the responsibility that you take for your own money when you want to invest. So for me, Bitcoin have a very good, powerful history. I always put three phases of a Bitcoin history. When started on 2009, the actual price on 2010, where the Bitcoin have the growth is very fast. On 2014, the issues of the Mt. Gox affected to the Bitcoin market, where the issues of, the wallet, right? Basically, Bitcoin never been hacked. The problems, I think, the platform, the e-wallet, been hacked was by somebody, and this affects in terms of. But of course, the volatility is an issues in the Bitcoin. But until now, until 2020, at the end of 2020, the price is surpassed. Surpassed on 20k USD, right? So this is a very good value if people early adopter involved. But sometimes people, because of the issues of I mean, they just following people. So they thought that because the price is very high, and then they want to buy, and then when something happened on the volatility, they lost a lot. So we have comes with a good formula for any future or potential investors or people who want to involve. First, knowledge. Second, don't put in bulk on your money. You need to have something like, I mean, minimal, consistent. By that, if you lost your money, you don't have a loss everything. So I want to start with that first. And of course, I'm very positive. Again, Sony,
Yeah.
my forecast for next year is going to
Yeah.
be around 40 to 50,000 K. When we study the trending, we study
Right.
the movement of the Bitcoin in the market. So we believe that next year will be the powerful year for the Bitcoin portfolio.
Absolutely.
Because why? Because we can see anything after recession, anything after the economic crisis, the holder, I mean, the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrencies will be a very good trade of margin. So I think this is a time because of the COVID
Okay,
for 1
sure.
year, people lost money a lot, lost jobs. So I think Bitcoin will have more powerful in terms of investment value.
Absolutely. Thank you, Fendi, for those closing opening remarks. Sorry, we're going to drill down a bit more into this topic later, like Bitcoin versus other investments. I have my third speaker here, George, who is finally on his laptop and ready to share his opening remarks about the topic. Hi, George. Welcome to VCTV.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. It's just switching from 4G to Wi-Fi. It's always a pleasure to be here in terms of networking and sharing ideas. First, a little bit about Bitcoin. As you know, Bitcoin, you can call it blockchain 1.0, and therefore it's a cornerstone in moving forward. However, I think we should not get a little bit overcarried about ourselves, in the sense that although Bitcoin does offer a lot, Bitcoin has got its limitations, and its limitations are in various areas. One of the primary areas is obviously the overconsumption of energy. We should not forget about our poor green planet. The second thing is that the blockchain also has limitations in the number of transactions that it can be performed per second, which means it was quite good as a store of value, but is very limited as a payment system. Its volatility also has some issues, making it a usable payment system. And thirdly, I mean, I do believe that there's other technologies coming around the corner, like quantum computing and so on, which means that even the technology that is behind the blockchain will have to be upgraded. Maybe it's 1 month, maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 2 years away. But I think we should not be complacent that once we invented a technology, that all of a sudden this technology is going to be with us for the rest of our lives. So I think this is the things that we have to weigh against. The other thing, I think Bitcoin as a store of value has to also be weighed against other stores of value like gold. And I do believe that I think the future is probably a hybrid world in which both probably gold and Bitcoin and maybe other assets will kind of cooperate with each other to create, a successful store of value.
Yeah, I mean, very good insights, like talking about Bitcoin, blockchain, quantum computing. As you rightly said, we shouldn't get complacent when it comes to technology. Like, technology keeps on upgrading itself. Next question I'd like to ask Kishore about the different types of investments versus Bitcoin returns. So please share some insights about the Bitcoin, somebody investing in a Bitcoin versus investing in mutual funds, bond, and gold. I mean, because obviously something that people are constantly asking me, they ask me, what do you think we shouldn't do? Can we invest in Bitcoin right now? It's shorting up, and we think, as if Andy said, it's going to go up to 50, 60K next year. So is this the right investment for us? So what's your thoughts about that, Kishore?
Can I share my slide on this? Is it possible?
Yes, please, go ahead. Let me just make you the host, I guess. I mean, can you share yourself?
Okay, I can. I'll just share my slide.
Okay, cool.
Can you see my slide? Actually, it says Bitcoin puts power back in the hands of the people.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
So I'll be focusing mostly on the price aspect of it, because that's what this program is all about, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So let me just do a quick past price analysis, then we look at future prediction. So this is where we are as of today. Bitcoin is around 23,000, almost 24,000. That's where Bitcoin is. Now, if you compare Bitcoin with other asset classes, for example, I've compared it with venture capital. I've compared it with S&P 500 index, the world equities, private equity, and Bitcoin. In the last 5 years, look at this. Private equity, venture capital has all given between 16, 17, and US market has given 13% return, whereas Bitcoin has given 429% return in the last 5 years. Okay, and if you look at innovative ETF, that's about 17%. So if you compare any asset class, there is no comparison. Okay, this data is provided by ARK Invest. That's the source. Now, if you had invested $10,000 way back in 2015, which is 5 years back, and I did a calculation of $10,000 in 5 years, you would have 750,000 over dollars. That's the kind of capital gain you would have got, which is analyzed 200% return, total of 7,000% return. Now, you may say, oh, you know what? I don't have $10,000, Kishore. How can a retail investor, a common man, invest in Bitcoin? So if you invested only $10 every day in Bitcoin for the last 5 years, this would have amounted to $138,000. And if you compare that with equity, S&P 500, that would have given only $25,000, which is a 42% return compared to 657% return with BTC. If you compare that to bonds, that's 3.49% return. And if you compare to gold, that's 37% return. Okay, so I'm just doing some comparison over here. Now, if you compare it to some of the top stocks out there, okay, now, if you invested $100 in Bitcoin 10 years ago, all right, that $100 would be today 9.2 million. Only $100. Exactly 10 years. In 2010, if you invested $100. Now, if you invested that $100 in Amazon, it would be 3.3K. In Apple, it would be 2.4K. In Visa, 1.7K. Microsoft, 1K. So you can just imagine the difference of your returns compared to all these other stocks that you see over here. Okay. Now, in terms of future price prediction, I would compare Bitcoin with gold. Okay. Now, of course, there are different perspectives of world of currencies. You know, you have stock market, you can compare it to stock market, you compare it to physical money, but let's compare it to gold. Now, gold has a market capitalization of about 10 trillion as on today, because gold really shot up, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are comparing Bitcoin to gold, and they are saying that if Bitcoin is even 10% of gold, so if gold is 10 trillion and Bitcoin is, let's say, 1 trillion, which is 10%, mm-hmm. If the market cap of Bitcoin becomes 1 trillion, what is going to be the price of Bitcoin in 2021? So if you look at the current market cap of Bitcoin and the future market cap, which we are expecting it to be 1 trillion,
yeah,
this is just 10% of gold, then the price of Bitcoin is expected to be around $54,000 per coin. Okay, it can be more, it can be less, but I'm just basing it on what everyone is talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there are, of course, a lot of more statistics to say why Bitcoin will go up, because Bitcoin market has opened up to 1.6 billion Muslims as cryptocurrency is declared as halal under Islamic law.
Okay.
Okay. If you look at the adoption of Bitcoin or the awareness of Bitcoin, it has rose from 77% in 2017 October to 89% in April 2019. Okay.
Right.
This is the awareness level which has gone up.
Wow.
If you look at the Bitcoin halving, right? We all know that Bitcoin halving makes the price go up, or at least it has gone up in the past, right? So the first halving went from $12 to $127. This is before and after the halving. The second was in 2016, where it went from 650 to an all-time high of 20,000 in 2017, as we know. And in 2020, it dropped to a low of 3,000. And right now it's at a high of 24. So the next halving is in 2024. So you can just imagine, every time there's a halving, price of Bitcoin usually tends to go up.
Yeah.
Now, this is some data, not by me. I've just got it from other sources, and they are predicting based on the chart that in 2023, the price of Bitcoin is expected to be about $160,000.
Wow.
Okay, this is by one of the analysts. Okay, this is not my prediction. This is just one of the analysts. Here's another analyst that is predicting that the price of Bitcoin in 2021 will touch 330,000. So if you ask me in terms of price prediction, because this is what this topic is about, price prediction, I would say anywhere between 50,000 on the lower side to 300,000 on the higher side. That's the kind of range. And this is not my prediction. I'm just collecting information and I'm sharing with everyone over here.
Absolutely. Totally understand, Kishore. We totally understand this. These are coming from the analyst. And thank you for sharing this quick presentation to us and all our audience. This is a very, very useful information. Thank you so much for that. I really thank you for that. Great. Thank you, Kishore. Is done with his presentation. I'd like to ask Effendi now, what do you think about, I mean, obviously Kishore has covered most of the points by sharing statistics, stats and numbers. And so anything you would like to add, Effendi, to that? You are on mute.
Oh, yes. It's a very good, I think three of us panelists, we have a very good in terms of a background. I can see Josh just now talk about from the perspective of technicalities, and Kishore talk about I mean the pricing, the stat, and because Crypto Valley is a ecosystem, it's a community-based movement. I would like to share a little bit on why the price will be high and the reason that why Bitcoin price will be in a very positive and powerful growth mode. So if you can see in my this actually just a simple ecosystem on the Bitcoin ecosystem report sourced by Deloitte. So we can see this. When we talk about Bitcoin, it's about this kind of ecosystem where the mining, this about the audit, I mean, proof in terms of Bitcoin on the nodes verification. We also involved on the research and support, foundation for profit, venture capital involved a lot in the Bitcoin. Of course, the payments with the Bitcoin, the retail now. I think like PayPal already accepted Bitcoin. So it's about the growth. It's about the community base. Same goes to the gold, right? When we talk about gold, physical gold, we don't know, right? How much gold actually exists in the world. Maybe another sources of gold could be come from the moon. I mean, from the outer space, or maybe in the sea, right? Maybe in the mountain. We don't know, right? So, but the price of the gold always stable and stagnant. Same goes to the we call it as a digital gold, Bitcoin. Bitcoin already I mean designed to have only 21 million. So of course the price will be increased because of the limited sources on the Bitcoin, and also the financial service. So many blue chips banks now accepted Barclays, Banco Santander. In fact, in Malaysia, where we are very strict on the ecosystem, I mean, in terms of in Malaysia, for you to know, it's not just I mean, between the bank conventional, they are competing each other. Basically, bank from overseas, foreign banks also cannot compete with a local bank because of a government regulation policies who want to protect local bank. You can see some things like bank conventional also cannot compete. I mean, in terms of ecosystem in Malaysia, how the financial alternative system like Bitcoin can be applied. But still, the demand is there, and we want. I mean, in terms of awareness adoption to the government, where last 2 years, government in Malaysia already announced that we accepted crypto exchange such as like Luno, Tokenize, and Synergy is under the Security Commission, can do something on the operate to be the operator for the crypto exchange. It's about how the mainstream we can bring Bitcoin into the ecosystem on the financial services. And of course, like Kishore mentioned just now, it's about the pricing, the statistic, the buying, the selling, the storing, just mentioned. And I would like to see this ecosystem can be strengthened in the future. And we need to have more people to possess, to purchase, to do some. It's about demand and supply. It's about the trust between, and of course, because there's decentralized concept of the Bitcoin, nobody can what you call prevent or prevent Bitcoin to be traded in the market. So I think and then these are things that the 6 reasons why I think Bitcoin will be a very powerful portfolio for investment, because first reason one is the demand growth. It's a very powerful on the demand because of the mainstream in the ecosystem, and of course the high liquidity. A lot of merchants, a lot of banks, conventional, already accepted. Of course, we have in Malaysia we have hundreds of e-wallets, and of course by having the tracking record from the 2009, because don't see when you are the late comer, right? Latecomer, because invested by not having the knowledge, they lost because of the volatility. But people who have knowledge, early adapter, like me, I don't say that I'm early adapter. I just involved in Bitcoin around 2014, where the price around 300, 1,000 USD, 1,000 USD. But we now is in the situation that we invest on the profit, not on the cost, right? And of course, the future of cryptocurrencies, a lot of project, a lot of solution that by using the cryptocurrencies, and of course the best thing is about no barriers. It's about how P2P. It's about how from peer-to-peer solution on the Bitcoin. These are 6 reasons why Bitcoin will be a very powerful investment. Yeah.
Absolutely. Very good 6 points that you've highlighted, Fendi. Thank you so much for sharing your presentation as well. I mean, I'm really loving this panel today. I mean, people are coming with the numbers and the facts and the statistics. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much, Fendi. George, over to you. I mean, would you like to share something different? I mean, people have, Kishore was much more into numbers. Fendi was ecosystem. Is there something that you would like to add on to what they shared?
Well, I want to play both sides of the equation, and I think this is very important. I think we sometimes tend to get a little bit ahead of ourselves, in the sense that the first comment that I would like to make is past performance is not necessarily indicative of future performance, as we have seen in all financial cases. Now, does that mean I am physically bullish about Bitcoin? Yes, I am, because I do believe that there is an opportunity for Bitcoin to still go up. But there's also an opportunity for Bitcoin to actually go down both ways. And I'll give you arguments for both sides. On the arguments for it to go up, if we look at past historical performance, the halvings, the fact that there's increased adoption, and one example is simply just PayPal adding it capability of buying Bitcoin automatically introduced increases in the price by the massive adoption. However, apart from all the bonuses and the fact that, yes, Bitcoin will probably hit 50 or 100, not necessarily over 1 or 2 years, maybe over 3, 4, or 5 years. But I do want people to be reasonable and balanced in their approach. What does that really mean? That means if you have a balanced portfolio, should Bitcoin be 100% of that portfolio? Probably not a very smart thing to do. I do believe that Bitcoin or gold, each one should deserve a 5 or a 10% as a maximum to allow an overall balanced portfolio. Now, on the downside of Bitcoin, of things that could happen, I mentioned already about mining. I mentioned about mining, meaning consuming too much energy. I mentioned about quantum computing, but there's other things I did not mention about that you should be aware. Bitcoin is about code, and in code, there is always bugs. There's bugs that we have found, and there was early bugs that we were able to correct very rapidly and eliminated the creation of the Bitcoins. But there's bugs that are still present in today's code of Bitcoin, some of them that are not critical. There's one about a date that does not affect the value of the price of Bitcoin. but there might be others ones that we have not found, but we'll find in the future. And one example is like we had one called Art Bleed. It took scientists about over 15 to 20 years to actually found the presence of this bug in the code of Linux code. The same way Bitcoin has got thousands of lines of code, and the fact that one critical vulnerability could be found tomorrow, what would that mean to the price? It means it would crash. That means if you put 100% of your value in one single asset, probably not a very smart thing to do. So yes, I do believe that a good, smart investor should put a percentage of their assets on Bitcoin and gold and other assets that have the possibility of going extremely high, things like unicorns as well, and create a balanced approach across all these assets. Other areas that still remain a concern for Bitcoin is look at Bitcoin as blockchain 1.0, Ethereum as blockchain 2.0, and we have other new versions of blockchain that are adding additional value and over time could potentially either replace, complement, or even provide much overall value. We should not dismiss the fact that we have one good technology. You have to compare, you can say the same way we went through DOS, Windows, and then cloud computing. The same thing is going to happen to digital currencies. Don't expect that version 1.0 is going to be the end all be all. Stick with the revolution, innovation of computing. There is always going to be something new that will come around and disrupt the technology that today we accept as the mainstream and as the solid rock.
Yeah. So great insights, George. Again, very balanced views in terms of investments when it comes to investments. You don't put all your dollars into Bitcoin. That's basically George's insights were very good. I mean, yeah, I mean, we have to look at a very balanced view when it comes to investments. I'm not an investment expert, but love to hear from all of you. So when we are talking about investments, this is a Venture Capital TV. We have VCs on our panels. We have angel investors. So I just want to know, because people do ask me a lot, what's the difference between investments in Bitcoin versus, VC investments? Like, let's talk about returns, investments and returns. We'd like to start with Kishore. Kishore, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. If you look at the returns of VCs, I've got some statistics of returns of VCs, which I can share if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll just share with you. So I will. So this is some of the returns of VCs, as you can see over here on my screen. So this is about tech investing in tech companies, and you can see the returns vis-a-vis the investment capital can be anywhere between 13 times your investment capital to 47 times, which means, for example, over here, you invested 80 million and the valuation was 1 billion in IPO. That means we're talking of a 13 times valuation.
Wow, yeah.
It can be even as high as 47 times. For example, Stitch Fix, an online apparel company, funding was 42 million, but IPO was 2 billion. Now, if you look at, people always talk about tech, but let's look at life sciences. Now, life sciences, this company called Impact Biomedicines, the investment was only 22 million, but the acquisition was close to 7 billion. So we're talking of 300x. So
wow.
Now, when we talk of these numbers for VCs, if you try to do that with Bitcoin, right, and forget about 300x, let's talk about 10x. Bitcoin is right now at 20,000, right? If you're talking of a 10x from there, what is the price we're looking at? Earlier, I gave a comparison vis-a-vis gold, right? So now I'm doing comparison vis-a-vis VCs. So we're looking at a 10x. So we're looking at about 200,000. So that's the kind of numbers, if you ask me, if I have to compare it with VC.
All right. Again, great points for sharing with all the audience. It's getting much more clear to me, at least, Thank you so much, Kishore. Effendi, what's your insights about a VC return versus a Bitcoin return?
All right. It's a very good question. when we talk about VC perspective, and of course, I think I agree with Josh. When it comes to the investment, we don't put, every egg in one basket, right? So we need to have many portfolios. From VC perspective, so of course we will see the trending. We will see the trending. We will see that how the acceptance by the whole ecosystem. For example, the first thing we will see on the regulation part. When last 2 years, when a lot of issues of the regulation where the crypto exchanges, for example, in ASEAN, in Malaysia, were forced to be closed, to cease down. So this effect into the ecosystem, and also the news about bad things about Bitcoin, the crash issues, the hacking in the system. So basically, VCs, if you want to involve in the Bitcoin investment, we'll see not just in terms of the returns on the short term, but of course the whole ecosystem on the acceptance that I showed just now. So when it comes to the personal investment, for me, of course, we do a lot of investment for the short term return when we see the bullish market, especially on the recession time. So we forecast that when happen the crisis economy, this is the best place. And like me, I always advise the public not to put, every money that you have into one, and don't invest your money that you worried to be lost. So it's something like when it's like we can say a so-called what you call ethical gambling in terms of Bitcoin investment. From VC perspective, we want to see the whole ecosystem perspective, conventional bank ecosystem, the mainstream, the media, the government regulation is very important for us. And I believe Bitcoin have a future, bright future in terms of investment, because we trade Bitcoin not as a from the technology perspective. Of course, Bitcoin is a blockchain 1.0. In terms of Ethereum or other tech, also will be a very good what I call tech in terms of Bitcoin, right? Compared to the Bitcoin. That's my overview on the VC perspective. Yeah.
Very good overview, FND, and rightly said. So don't put your eggs into one basket. Thank you so much. George, your insights on the topic.
Actually, my insights are much more basic. When I invest, for example, 5% on Bitcoin, or let's say 5 or 10% on Bitcoin, 5 or 10% on gold, it's an edge against something. It's a protection mechanism. However, when I invest, let's say 50% of my money on VCs, that means my intent is to create something new and something that is going to help humanity. What does that really mean? Let's say I invest in a VC that creates a new battery that is going to help people. I invest in a new agri-tech technology, is going to create more food, is going to help people. So, and this return of value in turn gets returned and shared by everybody. Bitcoin, yes, it may be an edge against something and a store of value, but by itself, it does not create anything new, the same way about gold, other than just wearing it as jewelry. All the other things in which we invest, we are actually creating something good for everybody around. And that comes to actually one term that one of my colleagues called Brock Pierce would actually run for president, but now I guess he's looking at his next venture. He created or used what I call the definition of a billionaire. And I really like his definition. His definition was amazing. What is the new definition of a billionaire? The definition is it's a person who helps 1 billion people. So that really means when we invest in VC, we are trying to create a new technology that helps feed, that helps them get a better life of 1 billion people. And then we get the returns associated with it, not just by storing it somewhere and hoping that actually by itself creates value. That is the power of venture capital, is to allow people that have great ideas and allow these ideas to flourish and actually help us as humans overall.
Well, I would say, again, very good insights. Well, with VC investments, again, I hold these panels every day with different topics, and I'd agree to George, whatever he said regarding creating an impact to the society as well. And thank you so much. And it's just such an interesting panel, such an interesting topic. I wish I could have more time. Just we don't have the time. Kishore, I would like to ask you next. You're on mute. What are the closing remarks you would like to share today about the topic, in generally about investments? And since this is your first session on VCTV, what's your feedback on VCTV thus far? Thank you so much. Over
I
to
think
you.
what you're doing is really awesome. I think a lot of people need this. You're spreading a lot of awareness. Getting experts on this kind of a panel. In fact, I learned a lot myself today. So I think you should continue to do this. And my closing remarks, I would say, what is the future trend of Bitcoin? I mean, how can one participate and invest in Bitcoin? So just maybe just 3 more slides I'll just share so that everyone can see and learn from. And so basically the Bitcoin future trend is SIPs. Because of the volatility in the market, like what George mentioned, and I agree with him and also with Effendi that because of the volatility, I think the way to invest for a retail investor is through something called as SIPs, which is systematic investment plan, or also called as dollar cost averaging, which helps you to lower your cost when you basically, when the price goes up, you buy less, and when the price goes down, you end up buying more. So basically, your cost actually reduces. So that's one way for a retail investor or somebody who's looking to purchase Bitcoin should be investing in. The next thing, which I think is Bitcoin ETFs and mutual funds, which is going to be like the future. We've been investing in stock mutual funds and debt mutual funds, but a lot of people who are worried about their Bitcoins getting lost. I think ETFs and mutual funds would be something which would be a great instrument for them to invest. That would be the next future trend, what I believe. And of course, Bitcoin futures and options derivatives, because if you want to hedge, then Bitcoin options and futures is a fantastic way to hedge. So basically, these are the future things or future trends which I see in 2021 happening.
Great. Thank you, Kishore. Coming from a hedge fund manager, I'm an ex. Thank you so much for sharing those closing remarks with us. Really appreciate. And I would love to have you back on my panel to share more on cryptocurrencies, altcoins. Today it was about Bitcoin. Obviously, we have more on cryptocurrencies to share the knowledge, as you rightly said. Thank you. Effendi, your closing remarks and your best VCTV moments, because this is your second time, and I always very excited. Okay, please.
So for the bottom line on the Bitcoin investing, I think Bitcoin evangelists are on board with the cryptocurrencies benefit, but like any investment, there are also risks. So Bitcoin might have a rosy future, but imagine if you had purchased on December 2017 for 19,000 per Bitcoin, your investment will have lost money during the subsequent 3 years. At the recent price of 13,000 per coin, your 3-year investment declined by 28%. So when investing, it's wise to buy low and sell high. But of course, Bitcoin is difficult to value. It's volatile and lacks the dividend payments of many stocks and bonds. And actually, the supply and demand may be among the major factors in its valuation. So if you think Bitcoin is a good investment for you, consider its risk to reward profile and do your homework before investing. And of course, we in the Crypto Value Malaysia, we do a lot of crypto forensic, crypto analysis in terms of the trending, in terms of how we can mitigate the risk in terms of investing. For example, we always advise the people not just following the trending, because maybe you, for example, 2018, when the price is going to 20,000, people invest a lot, but suddenly because of the volatility, the crash price to the 5,000. So you're lost, right? Like us, we know that when the price is 20,000, it's not a best time to invest. But we have the formula how to do it. You cannot lose everything. You cannot just miss everything, right? At least
Rightly said, 50,000 USD on the low side.
Yeah.
Sure, remember that.
Please print screen. You can print screen and record.
So, Effendi, what's your best moments on VCTV on this platform?
Actually, I like the VCTV's concept in terms of put of a lot of awareness, and to have a lot of people from the tax perspective, VCs, people in the tech, and then by this you can give a lot of a positive vibes to the ecosystem of the blockchain, especially on the cryptocurrencies and fintech. And of course, please, I would like to bring more, awareness on the VCTV into the Malaysian and ASEAN market. Please, I would like to work together with of you, and of course, any startups or startup that involved in the tech, especially in the blockchain space. I would like to see more investment in terms of a tech with the food security and also health. So VCTV, please continue, and I will offer myself to be as if I have an opportunity to talk again, I would like to offer myself to actively involve in the VCTV.
Thank you so much, Effendi. That's the whole point about this platform. If you have startups and entrepreneurs who like to speak about their ideas or get exposure, please feel free to reach out to me. And this is the right platform for them to speak about their product and the solution. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your help, extending your help to help VCTV. Thank you so much. George, what's your closing remarks today for the show, and your best VCTV moments, considering you were one of the first speakers I had on my panel?
Well, actually, my best moments about VCTV is really about the exchange of information, education, and awareness, and also the colleagues that we make following this show. So networking is a power of multiplication. So if you know about 6 degrees of freedom, this goes a long way to share information and share knowledge. My closing remarks are really about 2 or 3 elements. The first element, I do believe that blockchain, which is the result of Bitcoin, is going to be really the legacy of Bitcoin. On one side, we have Bitcoin, which will continue to preserve value and certainly will continue to increase in value, regarding the ups and downs that it will have. But I do believe the biggest value that Bitcoin brought to us is not just Bitcoin itself, is actually the popularization of blockchain as a technology, and the fact that today we can use that blockchain in many things. One, we can digitize value, and that means we can digitize real estate. We can digitalize gold itself. Other things that I do believe it's a bit of the future for Bitcoin is some of the things that are in the process of being doing. One example is wrapped Bitcoin, which allows the usage of Bitcoin and other networks. So for example, if you look at the ecosystem of Ethereum, in which there is no Bitcoin, but with wrapped Bitcoin, we are able to use Bitcoin in that ecosystem and add value to that ecosystem. So if that legacy continues, that I think the future is very bright, not just for Bitcoin, but for the technology that it brought on us, and how we use this technology in the future.
Excellent. Thank you so much, George, for sharing those closing remarks and the best VCTV moments. I appreciate all your time today. Kishore, thank you for joining me on VCTV. Effendi, thanks for joining back. And George,
welcome.
See, the whole idea about this platform is to give exposure to startups and founders who are looking to raise funds, make some connections. I mean, these connections are very valuable. This is the platform where we get an opportunity to network and share ideas and awareness as well, like as all of you said. So if you have any startups founders who are looking to get that exposure, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm going to get them on VCTV. Similarly, other speakers and founders, do you think from your network community are looking to speak and share the insights? Again, feel free to do so, and I'm happy to have them on my panel with you. Having said that, we are nearly time. It's time to end the show. Thank you so much again for your time. I look forward to have you all
right.
on another panel. Till then, stay safe, stay connected, and bye.